to Streams of Income. Hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur, Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
All right, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Streams of Income podcast. I am here with the amazing Joel Bromley, and this guy's pretty cool. I know him through Membership Freedom, a group that Vincent Puglisi started up, and I think I pronounced Vincent's name right. I'll say it different. I'll say it again. But so we are in this mastermind group together where we work on memberships. And if you're seeing this, you're catching the free version of the membership that I have. And whether you're seeing it on YouTube or listening to it. And so we're going to talk to Joel about his membership and his business, some family stuff, and what he does for a W-2 job. And we're just digging into all that. So I tell you what, Joel, if you want to just give us a quick intro and tell us about you and your family and all that, and we'll just dig in.
All right. I'm Joel Bromley. My wife and I own Bromley Financial Coaching. And Caitlin and I started that about 2019 when we started that through a series of different events. And we have 4 kids. We've been married for 14 years. And so life is good. It's busy sometimes, especially with sports and stuff. But yeah, life's good. So I like you said, I have a W-2 job. I actually live in Canada. So we're in Ontario, Canada. And so part of what we do as financial coaches, I love because it's applicable to all over the world. So we're not, specializing in anything that's particular to your area of the country or to your area of the world. It's all biblical financial principles. And so they're thousands of years old and they apply no matter where you are or what stage of life you're in. So that's one of the things I love about it. But we'll go back. Can we go back to high school?
Oh, yeah.
Let's go back to high school.
Especially, man, if you're going to tell me about some failed income streams and stuff, I want to hear about all the dirty stuff.
Well, income streams, jobs even too. We'll go back to high school.
If you've got any multi-level marketing in the background too, I love hearing those stories where people are like, yeah, I got ambushed. I tried it, lost some money, and I hate it.
No, I don't think I got any of those stories. Maybe we'll see how it comes along. But yeah, back in high school, I had a bunch of, part-time jobs. This is my first job. I was 15, I guess. And I just worked at the local lumber yard. And in high school, they wanted us, the guidance counselors wanted us all to go to university. And if you weren't going to university, they didn't have a plan for you. They didn't know what to do with you. And so I let my guidance counselor know that I didn't think university was the path for me. And he didn't say these many words, but it was kind of like, well, good luck with that. And that was kind of
guidance counselor.
That's kind of how it was. Yeah. So there wasn't a whole lot of guidance. So after that, I took 2 years off of high school or after high school before I ended up going to college. And as much as none of those JOBs that I had worked out, what they did do was they helped point me in a direction of all the things I didn't want to do. So anything from, oil changes to truck driving to working on a golf course and working at Laura Secord chocolate store and all that kind of stuff. So, there's lots of stuff that I tried. And I think the longest job I had during that time was 6 months. And yeah, I was, and all of them shorter than that. And then, but not entrepreneurial stuff. I remember as a kid saving up my first $100 and how much of a, milestone that was and loved that. But my parents were entrepreneurial. They didn't have any entrepreneurial friends. And so that wasn't really something that I kind of grew up with, but there was something inside of me that, that just kept, I won't say eating away, but it kept, coming to the surface. There was something more. And so anyways, during those 2 years after high school, I was like, man, I got to do something because I can't just be floating around and not knowing what I want to do for the rest of my life. My dad was a firefighter. And so I was like, man, he was home quite a bit. We didn't really seem to want for much. And I think that's what I'll do. But what the kicker was that he went on all my school trips as a kid. So I was like, man, I want to go on my kids' school trips. And so that's what I did. So, so I became a firefighter almost 21 years ago now, and have gone through that journey, and have gone on all our kids' school trips and those kinds of things. So
when I worked EMS here, I don't do it anymore, but we work 24/48 shifts. What do you guys work where you're at?
We're similar. So we're 24, 48 off, 24, and then 96 off. So
okay.
So there's a little bit added to it. We're the
leaves a lot of room though for kids and entrepreneurism.
Well, and that's the thing. There is a lot of time freedom kind of built in. It's a little bit of a trap, honestly, if I'm being honest, because the money is pretty up here in Canada, anyways. The money's pretty good, and the time, like you're not going to find another W-2 type job that's going to give you that kind of time freedom, and they keep paying you kind of thing. But yeah, so there was that kind of thing, but it's a bit of a funny thing that gets joked around quite a bit, but there are a lot of people that I work with or that are in that industry that, because of the time freedom, are able to have other streams of income. And a lot of the times it's something that they've learned after they've got on the job, but a lot of the times it's stuff that they knew before they got on. There's a lot of people that have been hired that have trades experience, or they have they had a business before, or they worked for somebody before and kind of built up those skills. And so now that they have the time freedom, they're able to, and they're not relying necessarily on that income. Now they can go and venture out on their own because they know they can do it. And they know that they're good at it, right? So
that's pretty cool. And where did Miss Caitlin come in this journey?
Miss Caitlin came in. She was a realtor.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. At the time, she was a realtor, and she was friends with a guy that I worked with's wife. They had worked together, and so kind of through mutual connection met, and I wanted to. My idea back then was that I was going to buy rental properties, and I was going to buy them until the bank said no more, or until somebody said no more. And so that was kind of the way that we started out meeting each other. And then, she took me to see a bunch of houses, and then I don't know, this history, I guess, but
that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. I've never heard a story where somebody actually met and married their realtor. That's pretty cool.
Well, I don't know if that was her plan, but
she didn't have a choice, man. Once she saw that haircut there, she didn't have a choice.
Right. That's right. It was the head. But yeah, I may have had ulterior motives, but I think she went into it business minded, anyways. But
so how many houses did you go look at before you asked her out, or were you just like, hey, I think I found 5 more houses?
Well, let me say, I don't know how much before I asked her out, but before we got married, I think we went and saw, oh man, it had to have been over 60 houses before we got married. So there was quite a few, and we got we could write a book. We could write a book with all our rental property stories, but the just the houses that we went to go see, there's some beauties out there.
Yeah. So are you doing rental houses at all these days?
We're not. No. So what we did was we acquired 4. We had a 140-year-old triplex in a town just next to us, about 10, 15 minutes away. And then that was kind of our we got into it and learned so much. And it was not the greatest area of town, and the clientele wasn't always the best, and those kinds of things. But we learned a lot, and we started looking into how we could diversify. One building with 3 tenants was great, but what if you could have one building with a ton of tenants? And when I say a ton, I mean 7. I think in one building was the most tenants we had. So we started looking at student rentals, and one of the cool things of student rentals is you're renting it out by the room. At least here in Canada, I can't speak to it down there, but you rent.
Yeah, here they kind of call it rent by the door.
Yeah, you can rent it. Yeah, you rent it out by the room, and the cool thing about that is because some landlords rent out the whole house to a group, We preferred to do it room by room so that if somebody was causing trouble, you could evict them and you still kept your income from the other. So it kind of diversified your risk, because you had, in that one house, we had 7 tenants. So if one was a problem, we still had 6 people paying, right? So it was, it kind of took away that risk. So we did that. What we did differently was, most landlords would buy houses right at the college, and a lot of those were all like kind of run down and, from the 70s and just abused and not taken care of. And we're like, we want a different kind of clientele. We want a clientele whose parents aren't hovercraft parents, but they're involved. They not necessarily come from means, but they pay their bills, kind of thing. And so what we did was we bought a house. That 7-bedroom house was about 2,500 square feet. We had 5 bedrooms. We put 2 more in it. The whole main floor was just common area, and it was about a 10-minute further walk than these other houses, but it was over $100,000 cheaper. And so because of that difference in price, our profit margin was quite a bit higher than the people that were buying closer to the college. And it was in a different neighborhood too. It was in a single family neighborhood. So we had expectations that were different than the partying and that kind of stuff that was going on in the college. And then so we bought another house in the subdivision, did the same thing with that one, except it was less bedrooms. That one was 4 bedrooms. And then the house that we live in currently, we targeted on purpose because it was a walkout basement. And so we wanted to live on this main floor and second floor, and the basement being mostly above ground, probably 2/3 above ground, had giant windows and lots of light. And so it had an unfinished basement. We put 4 bedrooms in there, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen, family room, and all the rest. And we did that for 10 years. So, and then we diversified that income by, at the start, we did students from September to April, and then we did Airbnb through the summer.
That's a pretty nice niche. I
never
thought about it.
Yeah, and the Airbnb we did for 3 years. This is like running a hotel, basically. And I'll say first year and a half was a fantastic experience. We had people, I wouldn't have expected people to come to our town. Like we have 2 universities here and those kinds of things, but other than that, but they came for all sorts of stuff, including a family reunion that they had in our basement. we didn't know that. They said they were coming for a family reunion, but we didn't know they were coming to our house.
No crazy parties.
And we weren't even invited. So the first year and a half was fantastic. The people really got the experience of hanging out with the homeowners and sharing stories and sharing a little bit of life. And we had people come for fishing trips, and they'd share I don't eat meat, but they, would share some of their catch with us, and the interaction, what should we go and see, and those kinds of things. The second year and a half, though, it was just a cheap hotel. So we had, people just kind of used and abused it a little bit and stuff like that. But we did have some pretty cool things. We had the LPGA tour in town, and so some of the caddies and osteopaths stayed in our basement, and the girls from the tour would come for their treatments and stuff like that at our house. But they used the caddies used our white towels to clean their golf clubs. So we had to go and buy new towels and stuff. So anyways, that was one of our experiences, but that 3 years was enough. Then we went full-time students, and then our kids grew up and we need the space. And so I'm in the process of converting that back to a single family home. So. Okay.
Now I'm seeing behind you, the wall looks pretty cool there. Where are we at right now? Are we in the basement or?
This is our dining room.
Okay.
So it's our dining room / office. I did that wall. I don't know, it's been a couple years ago, I guess now. So, I try to be a little bit handy. My dad was pretty handy, and as sometimes father-son relationships go, I didn't really pay attention to him much when he was trying to teach me stuff. But now, I must have been paying attention at some point because I can do a bunch of stuff now. But
well, I mean, it all looks level and square, so you did a pretty good job.
I moved the camera a little bit, so.
So that's pretty cool. See, I didn't know all this about you. I mean, we've talked a bunch in the group, but we just never get to dig into this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So how did you get from the real estate niche into where you are now with the financial coaching?
So we got to a point where with the real estate, we were $2 million in debt with mortgages. And then like anybody else would have consumer debt and those kinds of things. And I know there's this idea out there that real estate is passive and, anybody can do it and those kinds of things. And it was cool. It was a super cool experience. I wouldn't trade it in, but for us, it was just not, there's other things I think that were calling us. And then Keelan and I felt very strongly from the Lord that we were to sell those properties. And so in obedience to the Lord, we sold the 3 properties and then converted our house back to a single family, like I said. And he has provided in so many different ways. So as much income as we were making, we're gross, we were well over $10,000 a month in rent. And now that income is gone, he's provided in so many different ways.
I found that real estate is not passive unless every single thing is perfect. I mean, like a property manager, no repairs. That's the only way it's passive.
If you have the team in place, you and I both know people that love real estate and do it well, as far as I know. But yeah, you have to have those very particular things in place, and even have a niche in what you're providing to people is key. I think at least in our area, the cost of houses now, like the cost of houses since the pandemic have doubled. And so to make money on a single family home, it's almost impossible now. So you gotta really look at different avenues on how to do that. But so anyways, after hearing from the Lord to sell those things, we started to go through a process where we're like, okay, now that we don't have that income, and really because it was gross income, we didn't see a whole lot of that income in our personal finances, but we're like, okay, we need to do something a little bit different. And we're just feeling, we make good money, but we're just feeling tighter than we feel like we should.
Yeah.
And so we started looking around, and there really wasn't a whole lot of stuff here in Canada. There was companies that were for rebuilding credit and those kinds of things, and we didn't have any problems with that. But your buddy Dave Ramsey down there, he kind of appealed to us in certain ways because he said how it was, and it was just something we thought we'd try, and so we did pretty well on it.
Yeah.
And so through that process, we started having opportunities to coach people in a volunteer kind of way with their finances. Once it kind of got out that we had done some cool stuff with ours, the word kind of got out. And so, which was even more confusing for me because I had been through this over the last, at that point, it would have been, 14, 15 years of kind of this confliction I was feeling at my W-2. It felt like it meant a lot of things, but there was a whole lot of it that just wasn't sitting well with my personality. And a lot of that, you being a medic and combat medic and being in the military and stuff like that, a lot of those graphic things just don't sit well with me. It's hard.
After a while, it kind of overloads.
It's a lot. Yeah. And I remember a bunch of times, texting Caitlin after coming back from calls and like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. And you get back on the horse and you go on, but
that's why I quit. Too many bad calls, too many friends getting killed. And going home crying, sitting in the driveway to stop crying before I go in the house, that kind of stuff. And, I went back to school for counseling, and that was self-therapy. That was the only reason I went. I didn't want to go to counseling. So I just figured, I'll get a degree in counseling. And so it worked. Yeah. So, I definitely get that. And we've talked about that before too, how that just kind of builds up in you.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity, actually, both Keelan and I had the opportunity to do personality testing. And so and Keelan loves that kind of stuff. And she's got such an analytical mind. It's actually kind of a cool combination between the two of us. I'm more emotional and emotionally, I can see kind of things emotionally, and she's very analytical and great at math and not judging people, but analyzing where you're coming from and those kinds of things. She sees a lot of things I can't see. But through that process of this personality testing, it was like a light bulb went on, and it's like, that's why I'm at the fire department. I want to serve people. I want to help people. I like teaching. So the fire department met a lot of those things, but it wasn't the thing that I believe I was created for. So that was that inner conflict that I had that, you know, so that's made it a little bit easier since that discovery to go there every day, or a couple times a month, however often I go. But also has given us freedom to start looking at these other things. So in learning those things about myself, that personality testing, we started, it just became more and more prevalent in our lives that these opportunities to help people with their money kept coming along. Like, it was too much to ignore. And then we were given an opportunity at church to lead a small group in it. So we started with Dave Ramsey, and then I was like, okay, we're outgrowing Dave Ramsey. It's not that he's not good. It's just, there's more. And the Lord led us to more, that your situation is different than my situation, and how you do it might be different than mine. And there's room for that at the table. And so we've come around and developed our own programs and our own coaching and like you had mentioned, memberships and those kinds of things to be able to help lots and lots of different people in different ways.
Dave his stuff's good, but it seems like it's for the masses. Like, you need some individualized coaching and some people that have been through different experiences. I mean, Dave's experience it's good, and it led him to where he is, but it's just that one experience.
Yeah. And so many people, like I'm like this sometimes too. It's like, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Right. And so I think a lot of people in financial situations are just at such a point where they're like, tell me what to do and I'll do the thing. And then as they go through, it's like, okay, what else? Right. And so he has what else, but the focus is a lot on, it's not bad. It's just, we just decided to do it a little bit differently. It's very similar. He's, based on the Bible, there's a lot of financial people. It's biblical principles. A lot of people misquote, use the Bible out of context and stuff like that. So Caitlin was very being analytical and being, that gift that God's given her. She really dove into, okay, where are these principles actually coming from, and where does the scripture actually rooted in, and is this something that the Lord wants us to teach people that's true, or is this something that's not being used properly? And so going through and developing our programs, she really put a lot of work into making sure this was biblically proper. And we're 10-year Christians. We're like, about 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago, the Lord saved the two of us and at the same time. So, it's kind of, our journey is kind of, I mean, there's lots of messy parts, just like probably anybody else, but yeah, he's done a lot of cool stuff in our life. So
that's
all of that.
So a lot of couples they get saved at different times, and the wife or the husband, they spend a certain amount of years trying to evangelize. There's fights. So you guys got saved at the same time. That saves you guys years of counseling and trouble.
Well, we've done our fair share. But yeah, no, it's been a really cool walk. But so through that process of us refining and all the stuff we teach, we've done. Like, I'm not going to tell you to do something that I've not ever done. I just heard it, this works or whatever. We've actually done the things that we teach, which is kind of neat. But what we found over and over again is there's only two ways to fix your financial situation, if you want to call it fixing, because maybe it's not broken. Maybe you just want to be better, right? Maybe you just want to be more efficient, or maybe you just want to get there sooner. You can either spend less or make more. And so many people approach the spending less from a scarcity mindset. Oh man, I got to cut back. I've been in so many of these free Facebook pages on, money and stuff like that. Actually, my Facebook post today, I talked about how there was this one woman who would turn her water heater off at nighttime just to save whatever, I don't know if it was natural gas or electricity, whatever she was using, but it was just to save that over the nighttime. And it's like, that effort that you took to go to bed and turn it off at 11 and then wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to turn it back on so that you had a warm shower.
Yeah.
Like, that's not you're talking like hardly pennies,
Yeah.
right? So
I don't want to stress that much over $4 a night.
yeah, it's not even that much. So it's literally pennies. So so from that scarcity mindset, we're like, okay, it's not scarcity, it's efficiency, right? So if you're well, you love coffee, but you like good coffee. So you're not going to go, we have Tim Hortons up here, you guys have Dunkin' and Starbucks. Well, we have Starbucks too, but the lineups at Tim Hortons are down the street almost sometime, and it's not even good coffee. It's not. It's really not. I mean, it's the Canadian, it's the Canadian experience. But if you have it without cream and sugar, it's like it's right.
Yeah.
And it's just as from coffee guy to coffee guy. I mean, you're more of a coffee guy probably than I am. But if you can't drink it black, you shouldn't be drinking it. So, it was all about efficiency. So, I would rather pay up front for a nice grinder and a pour over or a French press, buy the beans and grind them myself. And it's like, whatever, 35 cents a cup.
Yeah.
As opposed to going to Tim Hortons or Dunkin' or Starbucks is worse. It's like $5 or $6 a coffee. And Tim Hortons $2 a coffee. And it's not that great, right? So just about efficiencies, finding different ways to do something and bits at a time, right? So a lot of times I think, a lot of times people just want to, with diets or with whatever, it's just cut everything out cold turkey. But if you can replace one thing at a time, that 1% better a day, to work towards just being better. And then what are you going to use that money for? So all the things you were, the subscriptions you had that you weren't using, or the coffee you were drinking that wasn't very good or whatever, what would you be able to use that for instead?
Yeah.
And I know you're all about streams of income, and I love that, but I don't want you to go work a stream of income because you have to just to cover your bills.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be amazing if you could be so efficient with your spending, not in a scarcity mindset, but in a mindset that I'm covering all my stuff that I need to cover. And then when I'm going out and I have these different, whether it's a part-time gig or side hustle, or you have multiple streams of income, these streams of income, therefore taking my kids to Disney, or this is for my retirement, or this is for whatever. I think that's cooler than being in desperation mode. And I got to make 500, or I got to make $2,000 extra this month. And how am I going to do that? Right. So it's just a different way of looking at it.
Oh yeah. I mean, and even Dave Ramsey, he talks about, he gets you in that gazelle mode where you're chasing the debt. And even people have asked him before, it's like when you finally get debt free, it's hard to stop thinking that way. When you actually have money to go do things now and you still can't spend it. And I mean, I grew up religious wise, I grew up in the whole scarcity mindset, and like independent Baptist was the way I was raised. And so very scarcity minded, and we hated everybody. and if you didn't go to my church, you're probably going to hell. And I mellowed out so much now, not just in, loving people more, but I wouldn't say I'm prosperity gospel, but I believe a whole lot more in that God's got great things for me, and I just need to look for it. I need to be more optimistic and not so just hating everything and thinking everything's out to get me.
Yeah.
I want to be thinking everything's out to give to me.
Yeah, right. But the truth of it is, if you find, I'm gonna let you in on something. When we have one of our streams of income is a small group curriculum that can be done DIY as well, and it's about money and what God wants for your money. But really, the heart of all that is, and what you find out, or a lot of people find out, is that God just wants your heart, and money is something that we hold on to so tightly. It's one of the things that we hold on so tightly, and we don't even want to give up to anyone or anything. And we have such a possessive nature about it. And if we can, I know submission is a dirty feeling or looked down upon, but really, if you can submit your money, oh my gosh, what will be done with it? Like it's amazing what will be done with it. And just like you said, there's things that we've been afforded that if we held on to it tightly, we would never have been able to, and the people we've been able to help or give and all those kinds of things. Like it's just a different, I believe there's an economy on this earth that we should be part of as Christians that isn't part of the world. Not that we need to have our own separate economy, but we don't need to look at it the same way.
Yep.
Right. So I think once we can free ourselves from just being so constrained and controlled by the thought of money, or the love of money even, once we can free ourselves from that, we can move on to, okay, what do we want to achieve, or what's the thing that we want to do. And so what makes me or one of the things I was thinking about as I was preparing for this conversation with you was one of our strongest, probably best resources that we have. It's free. Is called the Why Discovery Guide. And and that kind of goes back into what I was talking to before. If you don't know why you're going and creating all these streams of income, what are you doing it for? Right. So I want to have time freedom. I think yours very similar. I want to have money freedom. I think you're probably similar. I want to have maybe even location freedom one day. And I think you're doing that in a way at your property. Like you're being at your property. There's so many things that's allowed you to do, and cool adventures that you've had with the kids and all those kinds of things. So when you're going out and creating you're testing a lot of streams of income for people. So you're not just, I hate, like, it's a deep annoyance to me when you look up, because once in a while I'll do it just to see if anything's changed, but I'll Google side hustles, and it'll come up with 50. Oh, here's the list of 50 greatest whatever, and they're the worst.
Yeah.
And nobody's tested them, and nobody's actually done them, and nobody's actually going to do them. But you go out and test them, and you're like, yeah, this works, and no, this didn't work, or this kind of works, or this is how much it works, or whatever. And you share your experiences and stuff like that. So I love that because somebody has actually done it, and somebody that I trust and know has actually done it. But if you don't, so that's part of why you do things. But then, like you've shared with me before, you're spending time with your kids is super important, and so to be able to have that time, that plays into the why. And maybe there's stuff from childhood or those kinds of things. But discovering why you want to do this thing. We had a client one time that wanted to pay off debt. They had a second mortgage that they wanted to get rid of, and so they went and worked at a coffee shop, hated it, but walked in there every day with a smile. Yeah, and nobody could figure out why. And so they would ask her, so why do you come in here with such a big smile? And she's like, because I know why I'm here. Right. So having that understanding of why you're doing it, and knowing about yourself. So if you go back to the personality testing or whatever, I'm not going to try and, create something that you've created, because, actually Caitlin said this yesterday. David I've seen him in my algorithms, whether it's your flower beard or whatever UGCs you've done. I recognize what a UGC is now when I've seen, different people do them, but she's like, I could never do that. Like, so if I went out and did those things, I'd hate it. And two, I wouldn't be any good at it. Yeah. Because my personality isn't like David's or whatever. Right. Like, so there's different things that Caitlin has recognized that it wouldn't be for her, but that doesn't mean that it's not for anybody. Right. So, so it's really neat to be able to watch you do those kinds of things, but to understand what's in behind that.
Yeah. And so this is a free resource you've got that you said.
Yeah, it's
awesome. Yeah. Hey, I tell you what, before I forget, tell me where's the best place to get in touch with everything Bromley?
So if you want to talk to me directly, you can find me on Facebook, just Joel Bromley. And, we can, follow each other or DM for any questions, or if you just want to chat or whatever. And then our website, bromleyfinancialcoaching.com, is our website, and has all our free resources, our paid resources on there. And so those are the two best ways to get a hold of Caitlin and I.
Okay. I mean, because I signed up for your email list here a while back, and some amazing stuff coming in. And some of the forums, I mean, because I'm very aesthetic. I'm a lot more like your wife than you probably. I'm very analytical, and I have zero emotions. And but
I didn't say that. I did not say that.
No, that's just me.
She has emotions.
I have talked to her. She's way more kind than I am. But People say I have no empathy. But I'm okay. That's how God created me. But the aesthetics on your forms and stuff that I've looked at, I mean, it makes me want to fill it out. And I've seen other people come out with financial forms, and even if it's the same information that you have, it's ugly or it's just an Excel spreadsheet and stuff. I mean, you guys are doing a great job, and I guess for me, it ties in the emotion to the analytical. Like I want to fill it out. I want to do something better. I mean, you guys are doing a really good job of that stuff.
Money is really about 10% numbers, and the rest of it's emotion, right? So really it is. It's what we're afraid of. It's what we're excited about. It's what we want to use it for. It's what we don't want to use it for. There's so much behind money other than just figuring out on the spreadsheet. So part of it is these are functional. Like they aren't just fluff, but they are created in a way that's hopefully going to make you be put at ease. Because money can be a scary thing. It can be a thing that we don't really want to deal with. Want to bury our heads in the sand. And so hopefully, Caitlin's, I mean, I couldn't create these resources like she does, but I mean, I help a little bit, but just the way she creates them, it's pretty cool. I like watching people go through them and then being able to share, like, what did you find and what did you do? And can we, make that more efficient, or can we, what do you want to do that for, or whatever, just diving into all the different things that they discover because they use those resources.
Yeah. All right. So big question. I'm sure people are wondering that have stuck with us this far. 2 decades in the fire service. Are you ever thinking about quitting and switching over all the way to financial stuff, or have you come to terms with putting up with some of that, in order to stay in it?
So, of course I've thought about it. So it's, what it's done because of that time, that I'm not there, it's given me the ability to, or given Caitlin and I the ability to look into other things, and financial coaching being our main thing and the thing that we're so passionate about. But it's also given us the ability to not be so panicked or restricted. It's given us that backing kind of, and so we're super fortunate for that and super thankful for that. And of course, I would never want my employer to watch this, and
I didn't even think about that. What if your chief watches this?
but in all reality, we're fortunate. We're very fortunate to be able to have that backing, and what it does is it's given us that runway to be able to experiment, to be able to mess up, to be able to pivot in different directions. And I think for people that have a situation similar, in that they have that security or cushion, is it gives them a call to driveway. So it gives them something that other people maybe don't have. So where I got the term the driveway from is our daughter has started back up. Our son did a snack shop on our driveway. We live right across the street from their school. Location, not something we thought about when we bought this house as far as the snack shop went, but it's super convenient to bring the kids over to school after the bell rings. We're not usually late, but sometimes. But yeah, if you literally walk down the hallway of the school, across the road, you'd walk into our house. So it's that close. And so what the kids figured out was the kids at the school like snacks after school. So if I purchase stuff from the dollar store or Costco, mark it up a little bit, and then sell it on a table after school, things like freezies. They had ice cream sandwiches last year. There's chocolate bars, pop, and mixed candy bags and those kinds of things. Then I can save towards a goal. So our youngest daughter, or our only daughter, our youngest child, she has a goal of putting $20 a week into an investment. And she's figured out that if she does that until she's age 16, and then after age 16 until she's 60, she puts $100 a week. She'll have, depending on the interest rate, somewhere between $2 and $8 million by the time she's 60, just putting $20 or $100 in the bank account a week. And so her goal was to make enough money doing the snack shop on the driveway. And she's also figured out that if she does it for 14 weeks, she makes enough that she doesn't have to have the snack shop the rest of the year. So right now she's on pace. Last week, I think she did $120 for the week, 15 minutes a day. And then the week before that, I think she did $80 in 4 days. So it was even less.
Oh.
But what Caitlin and I talked about is she has a driveway. Like, she has the driveway in prime real estate, prime location that nobody else, no other kid has. And so what we got talking about was, whether for our clients or our kids or in preparation for having a talk with you, is what driveway do you have? What's the thing that you have that nobody, what's the red beard that you have that nobody else has? What's you have the property that people don't have, that, so when UGC people want to do, guns and ammunition and accessories and stuff like that, you can do that. I have contacts and friends that have the driveway that other people don't have. I know a guy that has quite a bit of property on one of the main highways through town, and there's a portion of that property that's not usable for farmland. And so what he did was he got tar chipped about 10 acres, fenced it, and he rents that out to tractor trailer leasing companies, and rents out for between $6,000 and $8,000 an acre per month.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that makes me want to go buy some garbage land.
Just for unusable land on the side of the highway, right? So it just stuff like that what's the driveway that I know somebody that anything she does, she doesn't get rich off it, but she can turn anything into gold, right? So she discovered that at the grocery store, there's bags of tri-colored baby potatoes, purple, red, and white. But the purple ones, it used to be when eBay was bigger, but she found out that on eBay, the purple potatoes were sold as seed potatoes, and they sold for huge, like ridiculous amounts of money. So she'd go to the grocery store, pick up a bag of tri-colored potatoes, she'd eat the red and the white ones, sell the purple ones, and make. And so she would just find stuff, on whatever eBay. Now she does Amazon. So she'll find stuff, and she'll find a different use for it, and then she sells it to the people that don't know where to go to get the stuff, right? So it's just, there's lots of different. What's the driveway? That's the question that I love to ask people. What's the opportunity, or what's the, your personality is your driveway, your beard, your location. There's so much more. Your life experience, that's your driveway. Our driveway literally is our driveway for the kids. That guy's property, the side of the highway. What's the thing that you have that other people might not have that you can fill a need? I was talking to John Sanders, our friend John Sanders, the other day, and he just said, what's a need that you see that people have that you can fill? And then even bigger bonus if you actually like doing it. So
yeah. Hey, I got an idea for your daughter. I'm a big fan of Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And he always talks about going from employee to entrepreneur to business owner. Your daughter needs to just hire somebody, pay them a little bit, and then that way she doesn't even have to mess with it.
Listen to this. How we got on the whole driveway topic was, there's a kid 1 or 2 streets over that has a claw machine and a cotton candy machine. And they did it on their driveway on a weekend, but nobody's going back there. So I said to Caitlin, and we actually talked to Peyton, not that we're going to do this, but we talked about it. What if you rented spots on the driveway to this kid that has the claw machine and the cotton candy machine, and they can sell, it doesn't conflict with what you're selling because it's different. You make, I don't know, $5 a day or whatever on the rental of the space. Yeah. And that's just another part of your driveway, right? Just another stream of it for you, right?
It'd be like a little street fair every day.
Yeah, you have live music, carnival, whatever, carnival games. Yeah.
Your sons can play music there.
50-50. I had a couple of dads on the first day of school asking if the kids were going to do this shop in the driveway again. And so the brand awareness was already there, which is kind of fun. And then the other day they were asking, or they were suggesting, if we sold beer on the driveway, they would bring the kids. The dads would buy the beer and the kids would buy the candy, and that was another stream of income. And we're not going to do that, but that was a stream of income that they came up with.
Yeah. Legally, the alcohol sales, the municipality might come after you, but
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's a good idea. All right. So as we get ready to close out, the big question I always ask everybody is if you had to stop all your different streams of income, W-2, everything, and pick one dream stream of income that you could do the rest of your life, you'd be happy doing. Money's not an issue. You just wanted to do this thing because it's what God made you for. What would your dream stream of income be?
I believe it's the financial coaching. Just the lives changed. When people they get that, you can almost visibly see that light bulb go off, and then their life start to change, and they start realizing the things that they can do because they've started in on this process and started paying attention and started dreaming about things. They started lifting their eyes up off of their immediate daily needs.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. There's like for Caitlin and I, there's nothing like it. It's amazing. And through it, I was talking about our it's called Financially Thriving, that small group program. Of the people that have responded since taking it, they have paid off over $32,000 in debt each, and saved over $26,000 in towards their savings each, for a combination of almost $60,000 since taking that program. It's just that kind of life change is just it's just incredible. Yeah. And that's just the people that got back to us. Yeah. Right. So, it's such a cool thing. So,
yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right. So I tell you what are we going to have to do to get your wife to show up for one of these? Do you think can she hear me right now?
No, she cannot. She's not here. No. Dude, I don't know. You might have to fly up and meet her.
Oh, that would
or
be
we'll
awesome.
have to take a road trip.
Yeah, well, one of us make a road trip and we'll just meet in the middle somewhere. Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome, though. As a matter of fact, if I could get up that way, drop by, grab some snacks in the driveway, and then come on in for an interview.
Love that. Yeah, that'll be on the house.
Yeah, you can just rent me a bedroom in the basement or something.
So if that would help your people, your listeners and your viewers to do that why discovery guide, we'll make sure that you have that link for that, and then if they want to discover how they can do money God's way better, we'll make sure that there's a link for that too. And you mentioned it, and I'll be sure to put it in the show notes and everything too, and that way people can get in touch with you guys and get the help they need and enjoy life more with wherever they are with money. Just more enjoyment, more living out what God wants them to do. Yeah, and I would love them to be in a place where they get to what you're doing and what you're teaching them to do, and they're just they're not worrying about that other stuff because they've already got that taken care of, right?
Yeah,
and they're just free to go on and either try out or just be free to have whatever streams of income they want and just rock it. So
no more of this turning the water heater off at night stuff.
Stop turning the hot water heater off.
Yeah. Well, Joel, thanks for joining us. And I tell you what, anytime you get something new come out, a new course, a new small group, let me know. I mean, me and you'll be talking once a week pretty much anyway in the other group. And so we'll get you back on and debut anything new that you want to.
I love that. Dave, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate, even though we're not in the same country, you guys probably already know us, but you guys keep us safe. So thank you for all you did in the military and the Marines, and then just how you've served people over the years and keeping them safe. And you've taken a toll on that, and I know that. And from an emergency responder to an all sorts of responder, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for that.
I appreciate that. I love Canada. I've only been on the western side. BC and some of those places. Yeah, but Canadians are it's been my experience. Canadians are so nice. It's not a stereotype. When I was driving through Canada, I went up the Alaska Highway and driving through Canada, and it was just everybody was my friend. It's because you go to the U.S., it's weird. It's down south where I'm at. Everybody's polite, wave at you, everything. You go to the northern U.S., the Midwest, they get rude. But when you
Okay.
cross that Canadian border, it's like, I'm home again.
I was
I'm home
told
again, but
once.
there's bears.
Yeah, that's right. I was told once that everybody needs a Canadian friend. So
Yeah.
there you go. Take that for what you want.
Thanks for being with us, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude. Have a great day.